Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here, and welcome back to the knife operating room. So I wanted to do a little dissection and takedown of the Spyderco Native 5 lightweight. So maintenance on knives is always an important thing to be able to do. You want to know that you can take your knives apart and maintain them well. Now this has been an ongoing issue with Spyderco. So they have only recently adjusted their user policies so that consumers can take their knives apart and reassemble them. They have said that they would stop using red Loctite. We'll address that in a little bit here in assembling their knives, because that holds the knives together too strongly and people can't maintain their knives well. So I wanted to see what it was all about. I intend to keep this knife as a user. I love the steel. I love the Native 5. And I wanted to make sure that this was a serviceable knife. Now, I want to preface this by saying I had a Spyderco Salt for a short period of time. It's basically a Delica with the Salt steel on it, the H1 steel. And that was a nightmare to disassemble. The backlock mechanism had to slide out. It was a nightmare to disassemble and put back together because of the way that it was pinned, and it just didn't want to come apart. I just didn't enjoy that. But this knife is totally different. This knife is very serviceable and very easy to maintain. So what are the instruments we are going to need? Always want to have your lube of choice. I like this 10-weight nano oil. You're going to need a T6 and a T8 bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here and start disassembling. So the T8 screws are here in the pivot. Now this is a bushing pivot system. So there's a bushing on the inside, and these two screws are holding it together. I will say that these screws were held in by a small amount of red Loctite. This was easily overcome with just the screwdrivers and a little bit of careful pressure. I didn't really have to torque that hard on it. So next we're going to get the T6 driver, and we're going to take out these very long screws that actually reach across to the other side. So the nice thing about the Native is that there's no screw on this side, and when we open it up I'll show you how that's put together, and honestly I really like that. So there we go. That is out as well. And that's about all of the labor you're really going to have to do. At this point, I would recommend disengaging the lock and just giving a little bit of pressure on this scale up top. And it just comes right off. So I'm being careful here because I don't want everything to go flying on the video. Alright, again, disengaging the lock here. Oh, there it goes. Gotta be careful. Alright, so disengaging the lock allows the resistance to come off. And there you go, the knife is actually open, and that's it. The blade, if you just carefully release the lock, will slide right off the pivot there. And there it is. There's your bushing pivot on the inside. Let me see if I can get this to focus. So there's a bushing pivot system that's just sitting right there. Here's the lock mechanism that all stays in place. It doesn't go flying out and you have to push the thing back in there. Now I'm going to get lube all over my table here, but you lube up the parts that you want. We're ready to go back together. I will just show you while we're inside that there have been some metal sleeves added to the frame here so that the screws are actually into metal and not into plastic or something else. So nice sturdy construction. Also notice there are no washers here. I actually opened this up with the intention of throwing some of these washers in there, but it doesn't look like that's going to be an option here. This actually runs on no washers whatsoever. I guess it's because the action doesn't really, suffer or anything. It doesn't change dramatically whether you would have them in there or not because of the backlock mechanism. So here we go. We're coming back together already. I've already added enough lube here. I usually take these knives apart once before I actually make the video, so I know what I'm doing here, and that's it. So we're just going to go ahead and put the screws back in place. Now if you want to clean the blade, that might be an important thing to do here. Maxamet steel, particularly on this model, Maxamet steel is not a full stainless steel. It will corrode on you, so it will be important for you to keep it maintained. If you get it dirty and stuff, you will want to take it apart and clean that inside part of the blade so that you don't start developing rust in there. But there you go. Just get this all back together here. And all the screws fit really nicely. Just torque them down to a nice solid feel there. Again, this runs on a bushing pivot, so you can tighten it a lot and it will still run smoothly. And there it goes, drops freely. Fairly centered. You know, these blades are not always centered anyways. They actually change every time you open and close them, and you can kind of mess with it there. These are not meant to be perfectly centered on this backlock mechanism, but there it is. And it is totally serviced. In a very short amount of time, you can have the knife totally disassembled, you can clean the blade, and you can oil it back up. So another reason that I really enjoy this lightweight Native 5 series. It really comes apart easily, very user serviceable, and I didn't have any real problems taking it apart with the Loctite that was included. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for paying attention in this knife OR session. We did a little surgery on this guy. You know, I'm open to any suggestions here. I know some folks, I know I've got a lowrider clip coming for this guy. I was contemplating whether or not I should get some screws from some of those companies like Blades We Love. They do those titanium screws. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Go check me out on Instagram at Dr. Frunkey. And as always, guys, this is Dr. Frunkey saying take care.